Good morning. I don't know exactly when the live starts, so I'm always looking at the camera and wondering, has the live started? Has the live not started? I don't know. Then there's always a little bit of a delay on the broadcast, so you can never really tell. But let me see. Are we live? I think we're live, folks. Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining. I have an exciting broadcast this morning. Before we kick off the broadcast, as far as interviewing some interesting entrepreneurs is concerned, I just need to record the intro to my upcoming podcast show for the Good Luck Club. And I just want to let you guys know that on Saturday I'll be releasing a new video on sales and how to make sales work. So hopefully those sales tips will be useful to you. And I expect that to drop around 10 o'clock Saturday morning. So look out for that. Trying to make content that might be useful to you guys. Anyone out there thinking of starting a business that needs some tips or needs some help, please hit me up. I'll do my very best to produce the content that's going to be useful to you to get you up and out if you're looking to start your own business. Equally, if anyone out there has a business and they're struggling right now, if you want some advice or guidance, I'm here pretty much every morning from 8 a.m. to chat and try to help. So I'm just waiting for my first caller to come on, and while I do that, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to try and record my intro to my new podcast. Hello, lucky people. Thank you for joining the Good Luck Club podcast, episode 21. I'm very excited about our guest today, Adele Parks. Adele is one of the UK's most successful authors. You see, I tell you folks, recording these intros, it's not that easy. I have to try and do it again. Hello, lucky people. Thank you so much for joining. In episode 21 of the Good Luck Club, we will be talking to Adele Parks. Adele is one of the UK's most successful authors. She's had over See, folks, ain't that easy. Let's try. Did I? They're like, we're not listening to that rubbish. Huh? No, it's not a live broadcast. Oh yeah, this is a live broadcast. The live broadcast has begun. Okay, thanks for letting me know. I am just waiting for the first caller to come on. How are you guys doing? How are you? Thanks for coming back to my channel, YouTube folks. I'm just waiting for my first call, and I'm, in the meantime, just recording an intro to my podcast show coming up. So if you guys have... Yes, a blooper reel, exactly. So here we go again. I'll try one more time. Hello, lucky people, and welcome to episode 21 of the Good Luck Club. I'm very excited to have Adele Parks join us this morning. She is one of the UK's most successful authors. She's sold over 3.5 million copies, and all of her books are often translated into 20 plus languages. She tells her story of struggle and how she started as a writer. She built up into one of the most successful authors in the world, but of course, she wasn't always that. Beep. I think that's blooper like number 30 or something, so at some point you have to call it a day, don't you? Okay. Okay, one more time, guys, and then I'm all ready for taking questions this morning. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to start throwing them on the screen. And I'm going to, in the meantime, just try to record this blooper. I mean, hopefully it's not a blooper. The intro one more time. Hello, lucky people, and thank you for joining episode 21 of the Good Luck Club podcast. I'm coming live from my home, and like many of you, I'm in lockdown. So I will ask your forgiveness if there's a little bit of background noise this week, because my son, he thinks this is all a game and loves to scream and shout right at the key moments. So please forgive any background noise, and I hope you still enjoy the podcast regardless. I'm very excited about the guest I have on today, Adele Parks. She's one of the most successful UK authors. She's sold over 3.5 million books. All of her books are translated into over 20 languages and distributed around the world. She has a huge fan base. I'm very privileged to have her on the show. She's going to tell us about her story as an entrepreneur, how it all began, how to write a book that's successful, and ultimately her insights today, I think, will show you just what it's like to not only be perhaps a struggling single mother getting a business off the ground and making it work, but how important it is to keep pushing through and deliver on your dream. This inspirational speaker will tell us how it all happened. I think I got it. I think that's all right. That inspirational speaker's perfect. But yeah, it's because I'm actually looking at a camera, not at the what's the word? The YouTube camera. Now I'm looking at the YouTube camera, so that should make it better, I hope. I think it was almost right. So close. So what's going on with you guys on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter? What's going on? What's going on? Vishesh, how are you? What's happening? Hey Mark, what's going down? Tell me. Let me get... Hello lucky people, and welcome to episode 21 of the Good Luck Club podcast. I'm very excited to have Adele Parks with us today. She's one of the UK's most successful authors. She has over 20 blah blah blah. Why? I'm going to nail it the next one. That's the key. Hello lucky people, thank you for joining episode 21 of the Good Luck Club podcast. I'm coming live from my home in lockdown like many of you around the world. So forgive me today if perhaps some of the background noise isn't as crisp and clear as normal. Not that you want the background noise to be crisp and clear, do you? Okay, YouTube, you can ask me any questions, by the way. Forgive me if I'm just trying to get my live broadcast done. One more time. Here we go. This is it. It's going to be right this time. Do you believe me? Let's see. Hello, lucky people, and welcome to episode 21 of the Good Luck Club podcast. I'm coming at you live from my home in lockdown, like many of you around the world. So I ask for your forgiveness if you hear some background noise today. My 2.5-year-old still thinks this is all a big game, so every so often screams and shouts and doesn't understand I'm trying to record a podcast where my voice and the background noise are plugged into your ears, so every noise can be painful. So please forgive him. He's a lovely chap. He doesn't understand, and I hope you still enjoy our podcast today. My guest today is Adele Parks. She is one of the UK's most successful authors. She's sold over 3.5 million books. She's on her 20th book. She's going to tell us about it today. It's called Just My Luck. It's a fascinating book. I absolutely recommend that you read it. It's a twist and a tale that you will find fascinating, especially as you're a lucky listener. You will enjoy the story, I'm sure. She's going to tell us all about it. She's going to tell us about her journey as an entrepreneur, and I do see writers as entrepreneurs. She's going to tell us a story about how she began, the troubles, the excitement, and the opportunities of being a writer entrepreneur. I hope you enjoy today's podcast, and I look forward to seeing you enjoy this podcast by not including this bit at the end, Connor, because it's weird. You're going to cut it off like 5 seconds ago. That was fine. Thank you. Bye. I think that's it. I think that's it. You've been binging on Dragon's Den. I don't know what valuetainment is. What's valuetainment? That's a new one for me. I have to check that one out. Let's see. Okay, folks. What's going on? I think sometimes with these broadcasts, I'm trying to connect to a few people that wanted some advice from me, but I don't seem to be able to get Zoom to work. So let me just email those people to say, or send them a new link. Let's see if this helps. Then I am here. Please go. So what's going on with you guys? I can't actually remember what I was. What was I?
We can try to do that. I cannot do it now. While you're eating.
Okay. What's going on? Social world. What's happening? Trying to focus on business, economics, and interviews mafia bosses. Wow, interviews mafia bosses. I think I'd be scared to interview mafia bosses. I think. It could be very scary. Yes, sweetheart? Oh, do you? What do you want to do, sweetheart? I'm just getting ready for broadcast this morning. Oh, look. Look. Say good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
Look, there's Aiden. Can you see Aiden?
I can't see my daddy.
Oh, you can't see Daddy? Because the microphone's in the way, is it? That's why. Can you see now?
No.
How about now? Can you see? Ooh. Hello?
I can see him.
Yeah, you can see me now? Yeah? Okay, let's see. Hi YouTube, how are you this morning? What's going on? What's going on, social world? Oh, what are you having for breakfast this morning, sweetheart?
Porridge.
Oh, porridge. I think that's interesting,
Porridge.
exciting broadcasting information. You know, this guy on his podcast, he's talking economics and politics, and he interviews the mafia bosses and economists. Me, I interview my little boy, right? So, I got a question for you. Do you like bananas or apples?
Apples.
Do you like grapes or strawberries?
Grapes.
Oh. Do you like peanut butter or nut butter?
Nut butter.
Oh. Do you like coffee or tea?
Tea.
Good choice. Do you like daddy or mummy?
Daddy.
What? Yay! I win. Ooh, I think that's bad parenting, but funny. Very funny. Do you like Yogurt or toast?
Toast.
Toast. Whoa, okay. I think that's a good one. Do you like baby chinos or water?
Water.
Oh, good choice. Do you like podcasts or Netflix?
Podcast.
Oh, podcast.
Daddy podcast.
You like daddy podcasts, do you, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, sweetheart. It's nice to have one fan. Appreciate that. You know, I'm making a lot of this content for you,
Yes.
so that later you can learn and listen. If you need information and daddy isn't around, you can go listen to all his stuff. And there could be all the tips and insights there. You okay?
Okay.
Alright, so this content is all for you. Alright?
Okay.
You know, on Saturday, I'm doing a video, 18 tips on how to be an amazing salesperson. Is that going to be useful?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want some options.
Options, like what to do today, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, well, we could ask people listening in, what should we do today? But I'll give you some options until they say something, right? Okay. Option 1 is we can play hide and seek. Option 2 is we can play story time. Option 3 is we can play the train delivery game. Option 4 is we can listen to mini beats. Option 5 is we can build a city. Option 6 is we can do shopkeeper.
I want the train one.
The train one?
Yes.
I knew you were going to pick the train one. I knew it. I knew it. What's the name of your favourite dog?
Brando.
Brando. What's the name of your second favourite dog?
Bigger.
Oh, you said Bella knows later, huh? Oh. Are you enjoying your breakfast?
Yes.
Oh, you're such a good boy. Right, you go finish your breakfast, okay, sweetheart?
I don't finish.
Oh, watch this one. Watch it. It's gonna drip. What are you having?
Porridge.
Porridge. Whoa. I used to have porridge when I was your age. Hi guys. I know this is not the most exciting broadcast this morning. I can't seem to get Zoom to work, so I can't get my callers on this morning, which is, you know, I guess it's just the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes that's the way it is. But yeah, such is life, I guess. What's happening otherwise? Let's see. I find it very strange sometimes why technology just does not work. Let's just see what we have. Let's try and figure out how this stuff all plays out then, shouldn't we? Oh, So yes, I should introduce chess to him. That's actually a really good idea. Oh, no, couldn't do that. Now,
I need a basket for this. Okay. Yes, why, Daddy?
yeah.
Have you finished the podcast yet?
I am working on it right now. Just trying to get my Zoom working. 'Cause I'm meant to be having somebody come on, but nothing yet. Let's see. You okay, sweetheart?
Yes, I just want to do the train.
You want to do the train game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I do that?
Yeah, later they can watch. See, that's interesting. What thumbnails you like, isn't it?
I'll story time.
Okay, story time. You got it ready?
Yes.
Getting them?
It's zoomed off.
Okay.
There's a lot zoomed off.
Oh no. What is it? How do we get the story time underway? I'll have to do it with that giraffe. Maybe it big story with some giraffe.
Look at what? Look at what? I can't find it.
Hello, lucky people, and welcome to episode 20 of the Good Luck Club. Today, I'm lucky to have Dr. Christina Dean join us. She is the founder of Red Dress and the R Collective. Christina is a sustainable fashion advocate who founded Red Dress in 2007 in Hong Kong. Actually, that's not right. I've got to get that.
It's called redress.
Redress, you're right. Redress. Whoops. Got to get it right. Hello, lucky people, and welcome to episode 20 of the Good Luck Club podcast. I'm live from my home in lockdown, so please forgive any background noise today. My 2.5-year-old is here. He loves to scream and shout. He thinks it's all a game. So I've tried to explain that you may well be listening to this podcast. Hello, lucky people. Welcome to episode 20 of the Good Luck Club. Thank you so much for joining, and I first of all want to apologise. Like many of you, I'm in lockdown at home recording this as opposed to my studio, so you may get some background noise. My 2.5-year-old loves to scream and shout just at the wrong moment, just like 2.5-year-olds do, so you may get a little bit of interruption here and there. I tried to edit it out and I hope it doesn't disturb you, but please forgive a little bit of drop in quality of the podcast recording this week. My guest today is Dr. Christina Dean. Christina is a sustainable fashion advocate who founded charity Redress, with its mission to reduce waste in the fashion industry. In 2007 in Hong Kong, hello lucky people, and welcome to episode 20 of the Good Luck Club podcast. I'm coming at you live from my home in lockdown. Normally, I'm recording these podcasts in a studio, so the sound quality is perfect with no background noise to bother you. But like many of you, I'm now recording from home, so you may, from time to time, hear my 2.5-year-old scream out or talk. Please forgive him, he doesn't understand I'm plugged into your ears. My guest today is Dr. Christina Dean. She is the founder of Redress and the R Collective. Christina is a sustainable fashion advocate who founded the charity Redress with its mission to reduce waste in the fashion industry in 2007. She was ahead of her time. She's the founder of the R Collective as well, the social impact upcycle fashion brand, which she started in 2017, which creates sustainable luxury fashion using luxury brands' waste materials. It debuted in Barney's New York and Lane Crawford in Hong Kong. Christina is an award-winning journalist, having written opinion pieces for CNN, Style, Huffington Post and China Daily, and is widely quoted in Vogue, on the BBC, in the New York Times and Forbes, as well as Bloomberg, regularly. She hosts a documentary series called Frontline Fashion 1 and 2, and her TEDx talk, You Are What You Wear, has been widely watched and one of the most popular TEDx talks in the world. Christina has received numerous recognitions, including by UK Vogue as one of the top 30 inspirational women in the UK. She splits her time between Hong Kong and London, and she also comes live from her living room in London this morning. What's going on, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn? What's going on? What's going on? Sorry, I've been trying to get a few things done this morning while waiting for my first caller to come on. Zoom. Oh, looks like we've got one person on. Okay, we can get the show going. Let's have a little listen. Hi there. Oh, Jean can't hear you. 1 second. I think the sound set up. Let me just get the sound. I think maybe it's. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you for some reason. Maybe your sound settings. Okay. Hi there. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Hold on, let me just see if there's a setting mistake. Preferences. How about that? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you perfectly.
Oh, I can hear you now perfectly too.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Simon, for your time.
Not at all. Not at all. How are you?
Very good. I'm at Juilly-en-Josas. I don't know if you've come to Paris before.
Oh yes, many times. Paris is such a wonderful city, and I absolutely love my visits. But yeah. It's, where exactly is that? North of Paris,
So
is it?
it's south of Paris. We're about 30 minutes by car
Right,
from the city center.
right.
And we're very lucky. The campus is beautiful. I don't know if Moana told you about our huge campus. There's a farm next to it.
Wow.
The weather is getting nicer, so it's a good place to be in during confinement.
Yeah. Well, I think that'd be an interesting topic right now, isn't it? You know, who's got the best place for lockdown? You know.
Yeah, we could talk about that. So how are things with you, London?
Yeah, London's no. I guess like all the European cities, it's been a little bit caught off guard, and so I think they're playing catch up, which is ridiculous considering they had a lot of heads up, with what happened in China. So it should have been ahead of the curve. So, but it's I see, of course, it's bringing a lot of pain and suffering to a lot of people, but I also see a lot of upside. There's some people rethinking what they want out of life and rethinking what they should be doing with their lives, doing some self-reflection, internal review. So, it's an interesting time. I wouldn't wish it on us, but I also think there's some benefit to it somehow. But how about you? What's going on in your world?
Still a student on campus, so besides my studies, I talk to my parents quite often who are in northwestern China.
Oh, okay.
My dad recently started reading this children's book to me, like one chapter of the children's book to me every day on WeChat. So it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. My parents are spending a lot more time with me virtually, and my dad even started this ridiculous children's book reading club.
Wow. Wow, that's actually really sweet though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope my son lets me read a children's book to him when he gets older.
I saw photos of your boy. How old is he? I feel like he's still.
Yeah, he's 2.5.
Okay.
And he's here now. He'll probably jump in. He doesn't quite, because I'm doing all this stuff from home now. So he just thinks it's all a game. So he likes to come and watch Daddy TV while I'm trying to record stuff. So it makes recording stuff a little bit tricky, but it makes it a lot of fun.
Adam, right?
Pardon?
Is his name Adam?
No, his name's Aiden. Close though.
Okay.
Yeah, very close. Yeah. But he's a good boy. He's half Chinese. He's half Chinese. Yeah. So he kind of, we talk a lot about Hong Kong, and we talk a lot about Shanghai and stuff. He's picking up a few Chinese words, and so he hears China on the news a lot now. Unfortunately, somehow when I play the news in the morning, I hear Donald Trump's voice every so often, and he'll talk about the Chinese virus, which is absolutely ridiculous thing to say. But then my son will ask, Chinese virus, I know it's kind of amazing, but anyway. So tell me about you. What's going on with you?
So we're a group of students. I am preparing for my internship, which starts in a month at a French VC. It's called Idinvest. I also am in touch with other Chinese students who are looking for an internship, either for the summer or for a gap year. And I think you have a very interesting background that's so different from us, right? We're in the system. We go to a business school. You learn how to do business, like knocking on people's doors and selling your skills, or developing your skills along the way. And you'll be speaking with a very different crowd. I think we're like, in French we're very squared. We're very cadré. So a lot of people are trying to figure out like oh my God, I thought I had things lined up for me after the semester. Now everything, is being put on hold. What do I do? That is kind of the situation right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's interesting. So the students that you're with, I guess they all had a plan, right? I mean, get your education and then straight into a great job kind of idea. So it's I still think that world's going to be there somewhat. Certainly, there's always going to be opportunity, but I think this is the starting point of entrepreneurship being a mainstream option for people even coming out of university. So I've actually been speaking to a lot of students actually who have a similar thinking, like what shall I do? I mean, partly it's those people applying for jobs now. They're like, it's going to take me three or 4 months applying for a job now, I won't get a job. Yeah. So why don't I start something of my own for the next 3 or 4 months and see if I can get something going until I find a job. And for me that's fine, like whatever way being in control of your own destiny starts, it doesn't matter. Like you just said there, and I started my journey by knocking on doors and just building a business. But it's only because I didn't have access to a business school or the resources you've got. It doesn't make what you're doing necessarily the wrong route. It's good to have an insight into the business world before you work in it. Having said that, it can also stop you, right? Because it makes you risk averse.
Yeah, that is very true. I guess we're in our 20s, we're full of vigor, full of ambitions. Most of the students you'll be meeting are Chinese, and they're looking for job opportunities in Europe, mainland China, and Hong Kong. We appreciate your time. We don't want to take up a lot of your time. So my suggestion would be for all of us to watch the video. I think the TED Talk was really cool and very heartfelt too. So thank you for sharing your story with us. So that you won't have to talk, repeat your story during your chat with us. So I'll share with the group your story, your website, a brief of what you do as an angel investor, and then for our chat, we'll just jump right in, starting from whatever you feel like would be good tips for us or Q&A for the students. And that should last between an hour and an hour 15 minutes. How does that sound?
Yeah, sure. That's no problem. So you'll play them the TED Talk first, you mean? Is that what you mean, or
no, I'll send them beforehand.
Oh, okay.
I'll send the group before you come in.
Okay. I wonder if maybe send them a shorter video. I've got a 2-minute video that might be better. The reason I say that is, first of all, if some of them listen to it and some of them don't, then my story might be out of context. So why don't I send you a shorter video? I just know students, they won't necessarily sit and watch the whole thing, right? So why don't I send a shorter one, which is just a little bit of an intro, and then I can talk a little bit to my history. It might be more interesting than them having to watch a video. And then so the format would be what? Straight into Q&A, or you want me to do a little talk first?
I guess you can throw out a few questions to see where the students are at and understand kind of what they're looking for in their exchange with you, and then do Q&As. And I think, you haven't lived in Asia, you probably know the Asian culture, where especially, mainland Chinese, from what I've seen so far, we're quite reserved. A lot of them are curious, but they're not very fast when it comes to asking questions. So I guess
they're shy, strangely enough.
They're very shy,
Yeah. Do you think it's worth? Again, maybe it's an idea to ask. Are there any questions in advance? Then some people that are shy can send you the questions in advance, and that might be an easier way of getting it. Otherwise, an hour is quite a long time if no one says anything.
Exactly. I will do that. That is something that's on my mind too. So if you could send me the video this week or this weekend, and then I don't know what your schedule will be like for next week.
I'm pretty busy, but I'll find time. So what time's normally best? Give me a rough idea, and I can.
So, next week, I guess during the weekend it'd be best.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually a good idea for me too.
Okay.
So
Okay.
normally in the morning, is it, or afternoon?
Yeah. So around this time it's perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So what? No, I normally do a 8 till 9 in the morning on Saturday. It's probably too early for students though. Well, I used to think that they'd be out on a Friday night, but not anymore. Maybe.
No.
But I don't know. What is it? Better morning, lunchtime, afternoon? Which?
I think we're morning birds.
Oh wow. Okay. That's not
Sorry.
students' normal profile. Students are not normally morning people.
I mean, like there's nothing, there's no social life going on. So,
Right. So do you want to say on Saturday at 8 a.m.? Does that work?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. All right. So next Saturday, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, I can put it in my diary. That's good. So they're 20-something students, and what are they mainly studying? Business.
So again, I'm gonna say a lot of cliche, right? So we get so much exposure to consulting and investment banking. That's pretty much what everybody wants to get into.
Right.
There are some who specialize in marketing, some in healthcare, but those are the minority. If you ask most of us, they're going to tell you merger acquisitions, VC, PE, and management consulting, strategy consulting.
Okay. And when are they? Is it a particular year when they're going to graduate, or what's the?
Yeah, so it's a 2-year program, but people can decide to do 1 year of internships,
Right.
and that's kind of what I'm doing.
Okay.
So we just finished our first year, going on our gap year, and then we'll be graduating after the second year. So in 2022 is the year we graduate.
2022.
Yeah.
That used to sound like the future. 2022, doesn't it? Now it sounds like it's
Yeah.
quite close.
Yeah.
2022. Okay, yeah, okay. And why did you, out of interest, decide to do this course? What was your motivation?
This course,
So,
like this.
why did you decide to do this 2-year program? What's your reasoning?
I studied in the States, and this program is between Yale School of Management and Paris, HEC. And I lived in Paris before. I felt very comfortable living and working here. So the combination was perfect for me. I was like, yeah, I love the States, and I like Paris. Why not?
Is it linked to Yale?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Second year will be at Yale.
All right. Oh, the second year is at Yale, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's quite cool. I like that part of the US too.
Really, you like the Northeast?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I mean, it's a lot of interesting people that go to these schools too. I guess there's an interesting network that builds up. I actually have a whole video which is, don't bother going to uni, or don't study. And part of it, a lot of people tell me, is the network. But there's definitely a network there when you go to these things, isn't there?
For sure, yes. Yeah.
And what's your personal dream when you finish this course? Do you have? Are you not sure yet, or what's your personal ambition?
Wow. Personal ambition would be to. I did an internship in Rwanda, and there I witnessed how people are realizing resources to put on programs about reconciliation and forgiveness after 1994. So, being very, I guess, ambitious or unrealistic, I would love to do something like that, like talking about forgiveness and hosting workshops on reconciliation.
Wow, that's awesome.
But I'm not financially independent yet, so now I'm kind of really, keeping that in my heart, in my head, but I'm trying to get some skills and toolbox before I can pursue something like that.
Wow, that sounds awesome. I love the way you think. That's a beautiful idea, by the way. I think if you need help to figure out how to make that work and make it financially work, then let me know, because you know you can do that and maybe figure out a business on the side to make you financially independent.
Wow.
So there's something to think about, right?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I've got another caller joining. He's actually in Startup World, so I'm going to admit him into the room to have a chat too. You're welcome to stay and say hello, or I know you're probably busy. Feel free to go.
Okay. I'll say hello.
Okay.
Just
Sure.
stick
Okay.
around if you don't mind.
Sure. Sure.
Wow.
I'll try to introduce you properly, Jing, and see if I do. But,
Hello?
Hi, John.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
It's been too long.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's one way of putting it. Yeah.
Time just flies by. I've actually I was just talking to Jing before talking to you. She's studying in Paris, linked to Yale University, and she's so I was just talking Startup World with her a little bit, and I just said that you were coming on, and she could stay on the call and say hello as well. I always like to connect good people, but what's going on with you?
Well, near Atlanta. The main thing that I've been doing is I'm connected with Benetalk, which are doing speech therapy technology stuff. So like we've got a wearable that listens to you. You can wear it during the day, and it's like a fitness tracker for speaking. So it keeps track of how you're speaking, not what you're saying.
Right.
And then we're also getting into teletherapy, so like building up platforms that are kind of something like a combination of Zoom with patient, like management type stuff. So it's collecting the things that are important for speech therapy. So collecting samples of audio or video and their progress. So maybe some forms that people fill out every day, and then it just makes it a lot more effective for speech therapists to do their work. That's actually based in London. So I've been through your neck of the woods quite a lot, but I'm usually quite busy when I'm there. And then I moved from Hong Kong to Vietnam about 2 years ago, and I've got some stuff going there, but that's more of kind of just personal family type base now than business base.
So not missing Hong Kong?
Well, it's changed, right? So, like I miss the things that didn't change, or I miss the things that did change, and then the things that haven't changed are the thing.
Hey, you've gone off there, John. I don't know why it went silent. Oh, there you go. That's better. I can hear you again.
Yeah. Let me switch over to different mic.
Jing, yeah, go on.
I have another call in
Sure.
5 minutes.
No, nice to chat to you, and I look forward to talking to you and your fellow students,
Yes.
and that will be exciting. So just send me a calendar invite so we don't forget the time, and then I'll send you over the video and anything else that might be useful.
Absolutely. Thank you for your precious time, and very nice to meet you, John.
Let's meet you.
Yep.
See you. Bye.
All right.
Hey, yeah. So that sounds fascinating. But you're coming. You're basically in Vietnam now. Is that where you are now?
Yeah. Well, we're kind of in the process of moving family over into Georgia.
Wow.
My mom's here, so
Right.
that's why I'm stuck here. Is I was before everything got kind of closed down. I was in the process of I was going to be here for a month, and then Vietnam for a month, here for a month, and kind of in the meantime get things set up and ready for people to come over. So but Vietnam ended up, I was expecting it to be like China around 2000, kind of developing and lots of opportunities for me in manufacturing and consulting within the manufacturing space. And it ends up that the Vietnamese are more likely to tough it out, figure out how to do something for themselves, and not hire like an outside consultant to do it at, you know, like global prices, which is good. I mean, like they own however they're doing stuff, they really own it. Where Chinese method is you bring in somebody, pay them a lot of money, learn what they're doing, and then say, okay, thanks. Yeah. But then they don't really quite understand what they own at that point. So
that's a very interesting insight. Yeah. So I always feel like China's somehow still done quite well, but there was a period there where they were producing a lot of rubbish, right? They're copying and they're not innovating. Whereas Vietnam, that's a very interesting insight. Yeah, Vietnam does it the hard way, does it on their own, but they know what they've produced by the end of it. That's fascinating.
Right. And of course, like China's in a really good position right now, so you can't say that, you know, it's, you know, that it didn't work for them. But I think Vietnam, I guess the main thing is they may be slower to grow, but I think once they get there, they're in a better position. I guess that's kind of the takeaway I would see. It's a really interesting place, you know, like where they've gotten to economically and everything is it's a different combination than I expected. So we'll see how it goes. It's still very, you know, very much the loud and dusty and polluted and whatever environment. So moving back here, you know, it's good for the family. But then also for me, I'm taking care of my mom when I'm here. So not that she needs to be looked after all the time. It worked out that I was here now, so I could go to the store and things like that. But you know, in general, she's pretty independent. But at the same time, like just taking time to spend time with her that I haven't been spending for less. I didn't even come back to the States for about a decade at one point. So
yeah, it's nice to go back to your roots sometimes. That's kind of why I moved back to London. It's just, you know, I wouldn't say I particularly like. Well, I loved Hong Kong, as you know. So, but you know, I think there is an element of you. Sometimes you just need to touch the roots of where you're from, even if it's not forever, but just to kind of get back to the basics, right? And certainly spending time with your mother is an important piece that can easily get overlooked in our ambition to understand the world and do cool things, right? So.
Yeah, well, and I think kind of when I was out and about and didn't keep up with her as much, it was okay, because it was kind of that time where she had her thing, I had my thing, and you know, it's all right. But now I can see that it's, you know, it's important to keep that and also to kind of pay back the time that she put into raising me and everything, right?
Yeah, that's it. So. I have a 2.5-year-old, and I just did a deal with him. He made me sit with him on the toilet for half an hour the other day because he didn't want to do a poo on his own. So I sat with him for half an hour. And, you know, I read him a book and this stuff. Anyway, and I did a deal with him. I said, look, you know, I will sit with you for as long as you want, any time when you're going to the toilet. It's no problem. But I ask you to do the same for me when I'm 80. You know, like.
Right.
If I don't want to go to the toilet on my own, you come and sit with me and read me a book, you know. And he shook my hand on it, so I think we have a deal. I think that's legally a contract. So let's see. But yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's a nice way to think, giving back. I don't get on with my mother very well, so I don't have the same ability to do that. Or I like the idea of that.
Yeah, and that's the one thing is like. Of course, everybody's situation can be different.
Yeah.
If even if you might want to, But I guess at that point, then you just look at how to give that gratitude back if you feel that way.
Yeah.
Even if you can't necessarily connect in the most straightforward way or something.
Yeah. No, but I think I like it when people do it. I think it's very respectful and decent. And you know, I want to be that way with my mother, but you know, it's a long story. But you know, it's I just we're different people, so if I try to do, and I have tried to do what you're doing, which is, you know, be grateful and go back and give time, then she takes me into a whole new world of, you know, nothing but her, and I've got a little boy to look after and other stuff to do, so you know, it's always a bit tricky.
Yeah, my dad and I kind of went separate ways. I realized that every time that I tried to really reach out and connect with him, he kind of didn't reciprocate, and so I finally just kind of wrote it off. But that was ages ago, and he passed away, what, like 10 or 15 years ago, something like that. So
yeah, sometimes there's no choice but to let it go, right? I mean, it's just like it's just some people you get on with and some people you don't. I think, you know, you just have to accept it, right? It's just the way the world works. But I do think one of the benefits of coronavirus for sure is that realignment, and so I really enjoyed spending time with my family during this time, and, you know, work has to take a second place to all of that, but sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes.
Right.
Especially what you're doing, I think, and I like to think I do the same too. We try to get involved in products that hopefully are going to make the world a better place. So sometimes that can really drive you to, you know, it's a bigger picture. It's not about helping one person or two people. It's about helping potentially millions. So, you know, and that can drive you to, you know, to not give your family the attention they deserve.
Yeah. Well, so with Ben, we were in the middle of doing fundraising right when all this stuff came down, and as you know, like, trying to raise funds in London to start with is a bit of a mess. You know, angel investors looking for revenue from companies from the get-go, although they're getting subsidized by the government and protected by the government in multiple ways. And so to me, I was so surprised, because comparing that environment to Hong Kong or Singapore, or, you know, any place that I've talked to, like really talked with investors before, I was so surprised how conservative investors were there. So we were in the middle of, like in February, it looked like things were kind of heading in the right direction, and then meetings started getting canceled, or kind of off, like tentative offers kind of were backed off, things like that. So we actually ended up putting the company, you could kind of think about it almost like a hibernation state, but focusing on, we've got one full-time therapist on board, so like a professional therapist. So starting in January, we had run a clinical study with the University of Reading that part of it was doing telepathy in groups. So like having 4 people for a therapist over, like, you know, a video conference. And what we found already with the results of that is that it was quite effective. And the thing is, all of a sudden, instead of one-on-one being the thing, if you can have 4 people, it reduces the overhead of the therapist to start with. But then also you have a peer group that they can be self-supportive to some extent, depending on if they get along or not. And so potentially you actually have better outcomes than if you have a single person, you know, doing that. And there's other, you know, other therapies that are like, you come in as a group or whatever, but this is the first time that we know of that people are doing it remote, which is, you know, interesting outcome. So we're focusing on having, building up kind of the therapies as a way of both getting more data. So like recording samples of people, either an audio or video, and then being able to tag that with, okay, this is a severe stutter, this is a light stutter, that kind of thing. And eventually that leads to building a digital AI solution for providing therapy. So, you know, like ultimately, really,
You've gone off again on the mic.
Yeah, that's weird because it usually doesn't do that if I. So before I had it on a separate speaker, that does get to where it gives feedback sometimes. But usually when I'm on my laptop plus the laptop speakers, it usually is fine.
I think the whole world is online right now, so let's just blame it on the online internet provider. But that's fascinating though. Actually, when I was 6 or 7, I had speech therapy as well. But it turned out I didn't have a speech problem. I had a slight form of dyslexia. So basically, it wasn't.
And they go together.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people that have. I stuttered before I was about 6 years old. I I couldn't say th like thought, and s's and some other things were really trouble. So yeah, and I went to speech therapy, but adult wise, there's about 3% of the population that have some sort of speech.
Only 3%. I'm surprised. Only 3% of the population.
3% stutter. About 10% total have. Sorry.
To be honest,
It's like 4 a.m. here.
Oh, is it really 4 a.m.? Oh wow! Thank you for joining me at 4 a.m. Wow.
No, I've got a call in hour and a half anyway, so I get up close to this already. I just since we were going back and forth, it's like let's just do this one.
Thanks, and I didn't realise. Sorry, sometimes I'm in my own bubble, and but thanks for joining me at 4 a.m. But yeah, I mean, I even 10%. I think I know so many people that have a slight speech issue. I still have a slight speech issue with certain words, but I think there's a big market for what you're doing there.
Well, it is, yeah. But I think what we're finding is, and this actually goes together with, like, we did a crowdfunding campaign for this, and we couldn't get we didn't get any media coverage whatsoever.
Why?
It didn't matter that we had prototype, whatever, nobody would even just touch it.
That sounds weird. I don't. Badly written press release or wrong contacts in the media or what?
No, I think what it is, because what it felt like to me was actually people have an aversion of really kind of talking about it or about because it's kind of like it's a defect, right? And no matter how we position the stories, anything, just everybody is kind of like. They would find something, either we wouldn't hear back, or which I think some of it was reaching out to the wrong people, but some of them that were personal contacts, they were just kind of like, we talked with whoever, and they just didn't want to run the stories, which was odd.
I know what you mean,
I've
though.
never had that kind of reaction to anything.
I think. Yeah, I can see why. I think there's truth in the point about people see it as a defect. Even myself, I think for a long time I would never talk about it. It's only as I've got older, I'm like it is what it is, and I've overcome it.
It's just part of what you do.
Yeah, but I do. Yeah. I mean, you do have that feeling like, should I talk about my flaws? Right? It's kind of that. But I think on the PR side, yeah, I mean, I'd probably attach it to a celebrity. There's quite a well-known guy here called Jonathan Ross. He was a talk show host. He's got a speech impediment that's actually worked to his favour. He kind of used it. He can't say so he say even his own name is Jonathan Ross. But it kind of worked for him. Anyway, someone like that getting by, I'm sure he was teased at school. I'm sure that he's got a story there. But getting a semi-celebrity linked to it could be a way of getting then the marketing side going. Stop the bullying at school. I know it's not targeted at kids, but that kind of idea that later on in life you can get help for it. It's something. I'm just brainstorming with you a little bit here, but there's something.
No, I think we'll get there. And where we're at right now, I think we're just trying to, because the company really started out focused on the hardware, and that's how I got pulled in. Jordy kind of the core founder for it, started about close to 3 years now ago, and he got grant money from Innovate UK to do a lot, and even running this clinical study with the University of Reading, you know, it was pretty much mostly funded by the UK, and a lot of the focus was on doing a device that, like, really involved something about a device. And I've been pushing the whole time for, well, let's look at how can we use software only. You know, how can we just do a mobile app? How can we do a website that takes on aspects of this? The one thing that the wearable does is, like in your day-to-day life, it can listen to you. So if you're at a pub, it would actually be able to see how you're speaking. And you know, there's not any other way of really doing that effectively, knowing that you're targeting the person that you're supposed to be listening to. You know, because otherwise, if you're talking with a buddy that has a similar speaking pattern and speaking tone and things like that, voice recognition systems can't pick that out that well. And if it's too loud, forget it. You know, it just won't work. So, yeah, the hardware is important in some respects, but I think there's so much that can be done with the software only type things that, you know, if anything, this kind of works out that it's pushing the company into doing, kind of focusing on lighter weight stuff right now. Because the hardware, you know, just doing one run of the hardware is like, and a small run is like $10,000. So, you know, that's a big chunk of cash going out that you don't immediately see return on, where the software or therapy-based stuff, you know, it's a lot more scalable. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when you have to pivot based on circumstances like this, but I also think like there's probably an interesting business in getting access to therapists that can help you, because I don't feel like there's that much access. The good ones might not even be in the same country as you, for example, so having a platform.
And there are kind of people that are doing some of that, like kind of platforms that make teletherapy accessible, but in general, they're still using Skype or, you know, Zoom or whatever to do it, which kind of works, but the bandwidth, well, not necessarily the bandwidth, but the clarity of video conferencing stuff is not quite there for what you need to be able to see for the therapy. Sometimes, like being able to see more detail in how people are forming their mouth when they're moving. It's just a little bit low information, basically. So seems like one of the main opportunities is creating software that really kind of fits in the voids, you know, that complements that need right now.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes. We applied for at least one grant already, and then they're putting together at least one or two more. The one that we already applied for is like an immediate. Well, we should hear back in the next 2 weeks, I think, something on that order, if we're going to get that. And then, the others are more longer term things that we'll hear back. Actually, I think the application date got moved out recently. So, you know, that's more, unfortunately, longer term kind of thing. So if you know anybody, any angels or whatever that would be interested in that sort of thing, that could be a good alignment. In the London area.
I'll ask a few contacts. Have you got a quick, basic, simple deck or something or crowdfunding link?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just send me something over, and then I'll have a think about. I'll ask a few people that might be connected to the investors that might be interested in this. How much ideally are you looking to raise? Is that of interest?
Well, so of course there's the, you know, how much would be useful, and then how much are we targeting? Useful, even 100K, 200K would kind of keep things going along at a reasonable, you know, like keep it not just at bare minimum, but at least give us more to do.
Yeah.
Part of it is getting the clinical study wrapped up. So funding, making sure that we've got enough resources to really wind that down correctly. But ideally, I think we're targeting something about like 500K to 800K total for a round. But that could be kind of small, small something now to keep things going, and then kind of build on that. We want to get enough in hand to get us to a operationally break even, grow from revenue type situation. So it's doing another iteration of the hardware based on what we found with this, building up the final software stuff, and getting everything ticking over to where we've got revenue. So that's what we'd be looking at.
Okay. Yeah. So let me have a think about that. I'd be happy to spend a bit of time brainstorming on the marketing side. That's one of my areas I really love.
Sure.
So, I do think this is PR worthy. I do think it's something people need to hear about. And if you hit the right pocket of people in the right way, I think your crowdfunding campaign could do well. So not necessarily suggesting go at the crowdfunding campaign again, but certainly even finding investors. If we could get a story in the FT about this, I read that newspaper a lot, and I had this problem. So, it would resonate with me, and I'd probably reach out. So there's something in it. There's a mass way of getting the message out about what you're trying to achieve. I think it's interesting, and I think it's PR worthy. Just got to maybe focus on one or two particular newspapers and give them any angle.
Yeah, and I think especially like we're shipping the hardware out probably the end of this week, something like that, to the study participants, and so that was also another thing with timing. Really, now is a better time to be talking to people because we're shipping the hardware out. We've got preliminary results from the study, but of course we can't really talk about that too much publicly. We have to wait until everything's really wrapped up. But I think the message can be talking about teletherapy and remote therapy. That there is a need for it, and having run the remote clinical study already, we have more information about that than a lot of people do currently. So I guess that's kind of the message is we're at a point where we want to help people that are not able to see therapists coming up, and we want to make it more effective for them to receive treatment remotely. That would be a kind of a timely position.
I also think there's a lot of people. I mean, there's an interesting, and I'm sure you're going to do this, but an interesting charity angle on this too, where there's a lot of people that do have problems, can't afford to get help, and then they go through this problem their whole lives. So you and I were lucky at 6 or 7 to get a little bit of help and identify what was actually the problem and help us. And I think a lot of people can't. So I mean, again, just from a PR perspective, that would be also a good thing to think.
That's kind of the long-term pitch as well. The digital therapy, like we need to, where we're at is we need to get the library of samples of people that, do stutter, do have other speech impediments that are tagged.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know very much about building up AI models, but basically you need information and then things that label that information for the algorithm to kind of process everything. If you just have the information, it doesn't do you any good. You need to have that tagging
right.
to be able to classify things, to start looking at trends. And so that's, with shifting over to software-based stuff, that's really what we're going to be doing, is collecting that data. And so I think, so there could be kind of that position as well, where by doing this, we're actually leading to having this very accessible therapy for everybody. That these are stepping stones getting to that point of being able to have effective, accessible therapy for anybody. That the other thing with digital therapy, you can do it at any time. You don't need to arrange with a therapist to meet with them you just whenever you have time, you could actually do it.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that kind of holds people back.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah, I've got your email, so I'll forward you pitch deck or
Great.
whatever,
Great.
and see if there's anything you come up with.
Yeah, yeah. Equally, I'm in London. If there's anything I can do for you in real time here, let me know. Seeing that you can't travel right now much, so if there's anything I can do to help you this side, just give me a shout. But it's a real pleasure to see you again and catch up with you again. I've always been a big fan of your inventiveness and entrepreneurialism. So it's nice to see you again, and I'm here if you need anything.
Yeah. It looks like you're doing quite well. It looks like you've really reset into completely different approach to things, which is good.
Yeah, I'm trying different ways. My mission is still the same, to help entrepreneurs and be a part of it. But I guess I'm getting less commercial. I'm trying to focus in on what matters to me, which is actually just helping people and trying to worry less about paying the bills and more about like actually helping and making a difference. So thanks. Yeah, I'm enjoying the new version of me.
Well, and you look like you're leading a healthier lifestyle too.
Yes.
That's important.
Easter and the lock-in doesn't help because I just ate 5 Easter eggs. But,
Well, that's a whole other,
Yeah, that's a whole different problem. Yeah.
But in general.
Yeah. Trying my best. Yeah. Well, enjoy the rest of your morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'll look out for your email and look forward. Let's chat up again. Let's not wait so long to connect again. Let's have another session when you're ready.
Sure. Well, and maybe I'll bring Jordy in. I'll send you the deck, and Jordy would be a good person to bring in because he's the core of the company.
Mm.
And I think what you just said about like maybe trying a media, some reaching out to the media now might be very relevant and might make his life easier because he's gone back to doing consulting with oil and gas. Although at first that looked like that was going to work, but then
the oil price went negative.
With how the market is, all of a sudden the work just kind of like went.
Yeah. Everything's getting disrupted, isn't it? But I do think, I think that there is something in the media coverage piece. And I think also, a business that can do well during this crisis, an online business, a Zoom style, message, is pretty relevant, and there's lots of stories floating around and maybe you can get on one of these lists. 5 businesses that could do well, after the coronavirus is gone, and the new habits that people have formed sort of thing. So anyway, let's brainstorm that in the next session, and I'll meet your partner and see if I can help you move it all along a little bit.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was good to catch up with you.
Likewise.
I'll see you soon.
Take care, man. See you. Bye.
See you.
Okay, folks. I think that's the end of the broadcast today.